We're going to be live basically all day until the sentencing is wrapped up. So if you have questions about the case, the sentencing, please shoot them in. This is from Sydney Sexton. Adanté, I'll throw this to you. Just for comparison purposes, what would the max sentence be for these charges? What would the maximum sentence be for these charges in New York State court versus federal court? And can that be taken into consideration for sentencing? I mean, I'll preempt it and say, I don't think that there's a transportation to engage in prostitution charge in New York per se, but you tell me.
Yeah, I don't know whether there's a corresponding state court charge because the Mann Act is about transporting people across state lines, okay, into different states, versus if it was a New York-based state court or state law-based charge, it would be about transporting people for prostitution within the state of New York, I would think. So I'm not sure what that is. I can tell you that, under these charges, I believe it's 20 years, 10 years apiece for each charge if he were sentenced to consecutive sentences. So, he's facing a ton of time, and there's a lot of people out there who think about 10 years, a decade, potentially 2 decades of someone's life for, if you look at just the 4 corners of the charge, paying money, and then you look at the facts around that particular charge, paying money for other people to cross state lines to have sex and essentially be a voyeur. I'm of the persuasion, if you will, that that's a heavy price to pay for that particular conduct. However, there are just as many people out there who consider everything he did reprehensible, despicable, and that he's earned every minute and hour of his potential charge. But from my perspective, having been in a courtroom and see people charged, sentenced for a lot less time for what I think are much more serious or much more violent crimes, and even less violent crimes, I think all bets are off. But I'm happy to see that we're not, in my opinion, looking at 11 years for this particular charge.
So by the way, I'm giving